Just before the holidays, we had the Stage 5 of the 2023 Call of Duty Mobile World Championships. I watched the matches and thought of making a video about what I saw and what we can learn from pro players. Before we start, I want to mention 3 things. There are specific rules for the competition and even practice matches, so some really good things were banned. These include the SKS, the SVD, the XPR, the ZX9 Burst Mag, or the HVK30 Large Caliber Mag, some perks, score streaks, or pretty much anything that could make the game less enjoyable to play and watch. Every skin was available for those who were playing Stage 5. They were playing on the esport version, which allows them to use any skin that's not banned and that they want to use. Lastly, Stage 5 was done in person, not an online competition. This means that there were in real life spectators who could stream whenever they wanted. You may not think that this is a big deal, but in other games like CSGO or Valorant, where sound is one of the most important things in the game, players in LAN usually complain about the fact that they couldn't hear the sound properly. You'll see how this had an impact in Stage 5. Before we begin, I want to let you know that I won't be discussing the score streaks. This is because only 3 were allowed, so there isn't much to analyze when there were no other options. Let's talk about the weapons used in the COD Mobile World Championship Stage 5. There wasn't much variety compared to what we saw in Stage 4. The main SMG was the Fennec, the main AR was the Grau, the main sniper was the Locust, and the main shotgun was the R90. For the secondary weapon, it was mainly melee weapons to run faster or pistols. I've only seen MW11 and LCAR9. The most used Fennec build was the one I've shown on the channel, so I'm not going to talk about it much, but for the Grau, it was never the exact same build. Some preferred to use a red dot, some even sacrificed the suppressor for it. But in general, all the builds were pretty much meant to be used the same way, which was for flex playstyle. The R90 only has one build, but the problem is that the main build has a laser. We've seen Vague using his R90 with a laser, which wasn't optimal in S&D, like you might have seen in the Meltdown S&D against GodLike in the semi-final. The Locust stopping power build was the only build used for the Locust. Players almost exclusively use the Locust Electron, which is the best sniper skin for competition. It has a nice shape for hard scoping and doesn't hide the side of the screen, which helps a lot. It doesn't have a weird ADS animation like the Mythic DLQ can have, which helps for quick scopes. As I said in a previous video, in competition, having a suppressor isn't necessarily mandatory because players make callouts as soon as they see someone or when they get killed, so it's not a big deal. Although those were the most used weapons, I've seen 2 other weapons. I couldn't watch all 4 streams every day, so I might have missed some others. But some players use the SX9 as more of a flex SMG, like in the Meltdown Hardpoint in the final Wolves vs GodLike, or the Kilo 141 as a longer range AR in the standoff control also in the final. Using different weapons was useful to break the usual rhythm, and also having a strategic shift, which in both ways for the SX9 and the Kilo 141 were profitable and had a positive impact. Don't get me wrong, you can't use everything because it gives you strategic shifts. It has to be a good weapon, which is the case in here. Last year, players were using the Disable perk, which only had an impact if you were using an LMG, or if you were using an AR or an SMG, you'd have to hit the legs, which isn't optimal because usually leg shots deal less damage than chest or stomach shots in general. However, this year, there's a new kid on the block, the Wounding perk. It's a game changer, and here's why. When you get shot, you normally have to wait 3 seconds before your health starts regenerating. But if you get shot by someone using the Wounding perk, you have to wait 9 more seconds for a total of 12 seconds before regenerating. That's a long time to wait, especially when you're in the middle of a gunfight. The Wounding perk is so effective because it helps with revenge kills. When you shoot someone with this perk, they can't regenerate their health for a long time. This can be a game changer, especially for pro players who always land at least 1 shot in a gunfight. The enemy will be penalized for more than 10 seconds. It's important to know that using fast recovery doesn't change the duration of the Wounding perk. The only things that do are the Stim, Quick Fix, and the TAC 5. However, these items are banned in competitive play. I want to make a little stop on the operator, which was crucial in all the respawn matches. Let's talk about the operator skills used in the COD Mobile World Championship Stage 5. All players in the team are required to have different operators, so you can't have 5 purifiers, which happened quite a lot in EU before this rule existed. I want to talk about 3 operators. First, the equalizer, which may seem familiar to you if you've played the game since at least 2020. It's just like the OG Fennec Akimbo. Players who used it usually combine it with Gung Ho. Since with the equalizer you only hipfire, that means that they could run and slide while using them, which gave us some incredible plays. Less aggressive than the equalizer, we had the Claw. To describe it as simply as possible, it shoots as fast as an M13 and can kill within 3 shots. It fires 2 bullets at a time, and those can bounce on the walls many times before finally disappearing. That means that first, if you're a geometry master, you can get a kill by shooting at walls and waiting for the ricochet. And if you're not that good in geometry, you can still use it in a gunfight like you're using a basic weapon, and the time to kill is so absurdly fast you can get a kill normally. Lastly, let's talk about the gravity vortex operator. I'm surprised it wasn't used much because you can shoot 3 black holes and it's an instant kill. You can't kill yourself anymore since a buff that happened like 6 months ago. The only reason why it wasn't always used is that unlike other operators, you can counter this one by placing a trophy system which destroys the black holes like if it was a vulgar smoke grenade. Moving on, let's go over the perks used in the Stage 5 World Champs. The ban list for the perks is strict, but players still had like 2 to 3 choices per type of perk. For the red perk, we saw lightweight, skulker, and flak jacket used. Nothing super interesting here. For the green perk, we saw gung-ho and toughness. What's interesting though is that toughness was used a lot on the SMG loadouts and gung-ho on the AR's loadouts. Like if the goal was to maximize the mid-range potential of the SMGs and to maximize the close-range potential of the ARs. The real interesting thing for the perks was the blue perks. During Stage 4, players were almost all running Dead Silence. But during Stage 5, when about 70% of the players were not using Dead Silence, at first I was quite confused. So I looked at the perk they were using, and when I saw what it was, I realized why. The most used blue perk was survival training. What it does is it completely immune you from a tactical effect. It has a 20-second cooldown and is not getting reset after each death. To show you how good this is in competitive, let's say you want to push a hard point. You throw your flash or whatever you want to throw that is not bad in comp. You get a hit marker so you know that it hit someone. You slide peek and your flash didn't blind the guy at all, so he kills you. That's how overpowered this is in that type of situation. And you might think, but then they don't have dead silence so everybody can hear them. Which might be true if nobody's making any sound, but this is a LAN, not an online competition. So apart from maybe some moments in S&D, people will always be screaming and you won't be able to listen perfectly to what's happening. I hope you enjoyed the video about Stage 5. Congratulations to GodLike for getting 2nd place and defeating LG in the semifinals. LG seemed to be the favorites coming into Stage 5, and a huge shout out to Wolves who were clearly the best in terms of gunfight in the competition and won the World Championship. You should watch their games, it's really interesting to watch them play and you can learn a lot. Who are your favorite pro players? Let us know in the comments below. I know that Switchblade X9 is preferred by pro players, but you might want to know about the SMG that's better. Watch this video and leave a comment if you agree. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.